Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hey, everybody, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Miércoles en español. All right, blessings for everyone. Hello, hello, looking at the chat. All right, lovely to have you all here at the Cosmic Collective, the Channel Wisdom Circle, channeling the Cosmic Collective Consciousness. But yeah, so we have a very, very special message for you guys today. All right, I'm already connected and ready to flow. So the message today is about your distractions and uh, your distractions and your temptations. So we're gonna talk about it, okay? We're gonna be real as we always are here at Mystic Temple. We are always 100% real. So um, let's talk about it. What do we mean by distractions? We're talking about distractions in your life. And what is a distraction? It is something that takes you away from what's actually important. And specifically, they want to talk about your goals and what it is that you are here to achieve, your purpose, your goals, and just your desires in life. Right? We all have desires. We all have things that we want to get out of our lives. And what happens is there are always distractions that come into play. Yep. Uh-oh. There are always distractions that come into play when we are trying to go somewhere. We're on our journey. We're just running, we're walking, we're crawling, whatever we're doing on our journey. Next thing we know, here comes some shiny objects. Here comes some distractions that take us off our path. And so I'm not even talking, it's not all about the spiritual path. I'm also talking about your physical, mundane, real world goals as well. We have things that we want and desire, but we are very, very easily distracted. Those distractions become temptations. So that's what we're talking about today. The distractions that we allow to remain distractions and we allow to tempt us to move in a different direction. Okay. All right. Monique said, I definitely had that this week. Now I feel stuck and blah. Okay. Well, we're going to get you unstuck, girl. That's not okay. That is not okay. But this is what happens. Exactly what Monique just said. This is what happens. We get stuck. We get caught up. You get caught up. Next thing you know, you're stuck. You can't move. You can't move forward. You don't know what's going on because you're caught in a whole whirlwind of distraction. So let's talk about what distractions are and what types of distractions that can happen. So sometimes the distractions can be things happening in our life. I think it was last week that we talked about obstructions on your path and boulders in your way. That's an example of something that happens that then challenges you to be deterred. It challenges you to to end up getting distracted and deterred. The challenge, though, is can I can I remember what's actually important at all times? Can I stay on my game while all of these things are happening and keep my eye on the prize? Keeping your eye on the prize in a mundane way is your eye on your goals. What it is you want out of your life. Know that your decisions that you make today impact the human experience that you will be experiencing in the future. So you have a choice always. You have a choice to be distracted, to be tempted, to go down roads that you know you shouldn't be going down. All right, just because of instant gratification, or sometimes trying to push things under the rug. Sometimes you want a distraction, whether that's conscious or subconscious. Sometimes you want a distraction so that you don't have to deal with the things that you need to be dealing with, and there's fear involved in that. And so there's things that happen that come into our path that'll always be ready to distract us, okay? Because at that moment we're at a crossroads and we have a choice. And Goddess Iman, one of our light guardians here at Mystic Temple, just did a light guardian talk, an LG talk on crossroads just last week. So that's an example again of what the things that can happen when we are at a crossroads. We have a decision to make. We can choose, and there's also a passage in the book of Rashida about the crossroads. We have a decision to make. We can choose to go this way or that way. We already know internally which direction we should be going in, okay? But do we go in that direction? Not always. And that's what this talk today is about. That's what the Cosmic Collective Consciousness wants to bring to your awareness yet again. It's not like you haven't heard this before, probably, but it's important to bring back to your awareness. Yes, let's talk about the crossroads, right? But it's important to bring back to your awareness this, because we tend to forget things very, very easily. There's so much information. We have information overload, especially in today's society. We have information overload. We learn so many things. When we learn it, we're like, yes, yes, yes. Hashtag 100%, hashtag facts, whatever it is, right? We get all into it. And then as soon as that moment passes, we're on to something else. And we've completely forgot to actually embody and integrate what we just learned and what we were just like, yes, hashtag facts about. Okay. We are living moment to moment in in a fleeting way in our society today. And that's why it's important to bring back these hashtag facts so that you can remember, what's actually important. So the temptations are because whatever you're being distracted by is instant gratification, or it's a shiny object of some sort, or it's a promise. These temptations tend to pull on you emotionally. They tend to pull on you emotionally. So it could be a temptation to start this new business that you don't have time, and you're not really feeling it in here, but it sounds really good on paper. It sounds really good. It's a shiny object. Why is that tempting? Because it's a shiny object and because it sounds good on paper, and you're like, oh yes, I want to be able to call myself that, or I want to be able to say that I have this business. And that's not really why you want to start a business, just to say you have one. But that's an example of temptation and the emotional pull of that. You're emotionally tied to it because of what you feel it can bring you, and therefore you go down that road instead of going down the road that you should be going down. Okay, Monique said my distraction was someone else's problems. I need to cut cords from. Yes, okay. Let's talk about that, because absolutely you can be distracted because of other people's problems. Again, not focusing on your own priorities. And yes, we care about people, we should care about people, we should help people, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. And even if your cup is flowing over, okay, your cup floweth over. Even if it is flowing over, you have the time for that? Is that going to then take you, is that going to now make your cup go down like significantly? So you also have to think about those things as well. And yes, cutting cords from people is very, very important. So distractions come in all forms. Distractions come as obstacles in your path. Distractions come as shiny objects. Distractions come through other people, and sometimes those shiny objects come as opportunities through other people. Know that not every opportunity needs to be taken. Understand that, because that's something that a lot of people, especially spiritual people, they will say, this opportunity is coming to me, this must be a sign that I need you to check in here. I need you to check in here. And when you check in there, you'll know whether that is something that's for you or something that's there as a challenge to pose for you so that you get off your game. Okay, because we're given challenges all the time. It's testing your stride, testing testing your gangster. Okay, are you ready? Are you actually, how bad do you want this? Here's a little shiny object. Okay, are you going to ignore this, or are you going to be like, oh, shiny object, let's go there, let's go that direction, right? So these tests are always happening. And are you passing the test, or are you failing the test? Sometimes you fail, sometimes you pass, but we want to pass more than we fail. We want to pass all the time. So again, checking in here, and I always say that checking in here is the way to know whether this is something for you. And in the example that Monique gave about getting distracted by someone else's problems, that's a huge distraction. Get caught right up in someone else's quicksand, right in someone else's rabbit hole. But if you check in here, you'll know whether this is a soul contract, if this is someone you're supposed to help right now or whatever. You always know that. Or whether you have an inkling like, don't do it, then listen. Okay, listen. We all get that. And as healers, and many of you watching this are also healers and light workers, and so as healers we naturally want to help people, right? We see someone with a problem, we're like, oh my god, let me fix it, let me help you, or help you with a solution or something, right? But that's not always it's not always your place in that moment to do that. And it's important that, because everyone's on their journey, maybe you are supposed to help, maybe you're not. Maybe you're supposed to step back and allow them to go through it and learn things for themselves, you know? So you have to remember that. And if you're everyone else's problem is not always yours to solve, And also every opportunity is not always there for you to take. So checking in here will tell you whether you're supposed to take that or not. And if your system and your however you get it, because everyone has different gifts, everyone has a different way of receiving messages from their soul and their higher self. However you receive that message, all right, I'm gonna tell you right now, you already know if you this is something you're not supposed to do. When you're about to make a decision, right when you're about to take an action, you're like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but no, there is no but. Just don't do it. Hold on, wait. Message. All right. So make sure that you make sure that you're focusing on that. And also, when you are in the midst of a storm, when you are in the midst of things happening in your life, right? These types of distractions. It may be a storm, it may not be a storm, but these types of distractions, it could be a storm of distraction, just whirling around, and temptation to move in an opposite direction than what you know you should be moving in, or taking attention away from what you're supposed to be actually moving forward on. Know that they can slow you down. Distractions can slow you down. They can stop you, they can divert you, and they can also just slow you down. Because while you have this shiny object over here that you're focused on and paying attention to, then you're not paying attention to and focusing on what you should be focusing on. So now that is slowing down, whatever that is. And that could be a project, that could be your life purpose, that could be your soul growth, that could be a lot of different things, right? So that could be your goals, whatever that is for you. And so when you have these distractions and you're in the midst of the storm, it's very important that you focus on the light. Focus, meaning, and the light being the beacon of light that is showing you the direction, showing you the direction that you should be going to, down your path toward. Okay, not these other lights. All right, we don't need all those colorful Christmas lights. We just need one light. All right, one light right over here. That's what we're looking for. So you should have checked in first. Yes, exactly. Monique, definitely checking in first, connecting to the trauma to my, oh, okay, yes. And let's talk about that too. What Monique just said there about trauma, past experiences creating trauma. And that is also what helps us get connected and distracted and tempted to move in different directions or shift our focus. Like we've talked about, and we were talking about yesterday also, when you have trauma inside of your body and you haven't gotten rid of it, and I'm talking about the energy, not just talking about it, but like getting rid of the actual energy in your energy system where the trauma resides, stays, and then manifests into crazy things. Know that those are buttons to push. We talked about that the other day. Those are buttons to push. So now when someone comes to you with a problem and that particular thing may be a trigger for you, now you're diverted over there. And again, that's a test. That's a test. Again, it's testing your gangster. Are you ready? How bad do you want something? How bad do you want your goals that you're going after? How bad do you want to achieve your purpose? How bad do you want this next level, this next step? Those distractions will be there to show you how bad you want it, right? And so those buttons, those triggers, will send you off into who knows what, and that could delay you 5 years. That could delay you your whole entire life if you don't get it together, because I've seen that happen with a lot of people. So this is why this is so important that you understand when you have these obstacles, you have these challenges, you have these distractions, these temptations, that you stay the course. Okay. And again, it's important to understand how to know if something is a distraction, a temptation versus an actual opportunity or something, a direction you're supposed to go in, because they look very similar on the outside. Looking in, they look very similar. Both will get you excited, or mad, or whatever is getting you off of that direction. Both will come in the same manner. Both ways, both types of things come in the same manner. They'll come as an opportunity. They'll come through people. They'll come. So on the outside, it feels like the same thing, but that's only because you're not tapping in. We're not focused on the outside. We have to focus in here. And in here, outside of your ego, you have to. Here's one. I'm going to give you guys a little tip here. Here's one thing that you have to do. When you go within and you're asking, is this a distraction or an opportunity that I really should be taking? Is this a soul contract? Is this destiny? Is this something that's supposed to happen? You can, when you go within, it's important that you, once you connect to yourself, separate the ego, because the ego wants it, whatever it is. That's why it's posing a distraction. Your ego, your ego wants it. All right. But your spirit doesn't want it. So you have to separate the ego. And one way to do that is simply sink deeper and deeper into yourself. And if you do, you can do breathing exercises to get into the theta brainwave state. Your ego is much less, I'm not going to say it's completely gone, but it is mostly gone in when you're in that theta brainwave state. So that is deep meditation. That is also hypnosis. And that's also shamanic journey. Get into that deep, deep, deep state, and then journey within yourself, or however you're doing it, and determine what that is. And it doesn't take long, by the way, to do this. This isn't something that takes 2 hours. I mean, you can do this within a span of 10 minutes. Okay. If you're good at this, if you're not used to doing this, then it may take you 20 minutes, but it's not going to take you hours. Okay. But you will get the answer, and you will get the answer right away, and you will have clarity and know, okay, because your ego wants a shiny object, your ego wants the status symbol, your ego wants um, sometimes it's your ego that wants to help people too. And sometimes it's your traumas, which are tied to your ego, right? So all of those things want that thing. And you have to see, okay, does my spirit want that thing? If your spirit wants it, then go for it. If your spirit doesn't want it, you have to listen, because remember, suffering is a choice. If you don't listen, you will end up suffering. Whether that suffering is through the delay, whether that suffering is through just completely going off kilter and ending up lost later, because that's what happens when you start to veer off your path and you stay off your path long enough, you will get lost and you will forget what the path is. You will start getting more and more disconnected from your higher self and your soul, and all parts of your spiritual self. You will start to get disconnected from that. And that is a form of suffering, trust me, because it happens a lot. Okay. And it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not pretty. And then you end up later like, okay, I got to get back to myself. I don't know how I got here. It's because you went after the shiny object. Message. So sometimes it's the ego that wants to help people. Yes, yes. And let's talk about that for a second, a little bit more as well. So sometimes when people, as healers, because like I said, I know a lot of you watching right now are healers of some sort and light workers, and we, because we have the gift, okay, we naturally want to help people, and trust me, I get it. I want to help people all the time. I love helping people, but sometimes it's the ego that wants to help people. The ego wanting to help people is like it's really not about the for that particular person. If I'm not supposed to help someone, I will know that right away. But for a lot of people, they will just, because someone has an issue and they just want to help, but they're really, you have to check yourself too sometimes, because sometimes you are misunderstanding that moment. That moment isn't for you to actually go and heal that person. That moment might be for you to listen and be there for the person, and then they're supposed to go through their own journey of self healing, or whatever their journey is supposed to be. But your ego may want to help them for the accolades. Your ego may want to help them for self satisfaction, of like, okay, I helped them and now I feel good about myself. That's ego versus I want to help them because I want to help them. So we can go deep into that. That's a whole nother talk, a whole nother conversation. But right, and also because it's fun. Because you guys know, sometimes I'm called the mad scientist of metaphysics, and I absolutely love like figuring things out and stuff like that. Especially if there's a challenge, I love that challenge. But I'm very, very aware that sometimes it's my ego that loves the challenge. Who's like, well, oh, I'm gonna get this, like my ego loves the challenge. I'm very aware of that. But if my ego and my soul are on together, that's good. But but if it's not, so I don't do it if my spirit says no. I don't do it, because you also have to respect other people's path. And again, you're not here to fix everyone. You're not here to heal everyone. Sometimes you're just there to be the support. Sometimes you're there to say one thing to them that sends them on a direction. you know you can, if you feel guided to say something, but you're not always supposed to heal people. And I had to learn that too, because I was a person who was always offering, someone's going through something. Oh my God, let's do a session. Let's, let me hook you up. Let me do whatever, especially if it was a friend going through something. And I realized like, no, you need to wait for that moment to actually happen. If it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. If it's not, let them be on their journey because they're supposed to be on their journey. Remember, everything that happens in our lives leads us to who we become. And so I gave you an example of what I was talking about, I think yesterday or the day before, about my story of how I had to heal myself through paralysis and all kinds of stuff that I had going on back in 2005. So when I healed myself, or while I was going through that, so from 2005 to 2000, the end of 2006, so it was about 2 years. I had partial and temporary paralysis on and off. It was crazy. They couldn't figure it out. I had an anxiety disorder. I had all these things that was rooted in stress and trauma. So if I had someone at that moment to say, "Oh, let me fix it for you, let me heal for you," I wouldn't be the healer I am today. I wouldn't. I'm the healer I am today because I learned. I was patient zero. I had to figure all this stuff out. I didn't have a teacher. I didn't have any of that. That was my path. That was my journey. That's not everyone's journey, but that was my journey. And so if someone came and tried to heal me at that point, and I allowed them to do that and stuff like that, then I wouldn't have learned what I learned. A lot of what I learned was from going within and figuring things out. Again, because I'm a mad scientist, so going within. I'm also a medical intuitive, so I was also able to go inside and see what was going on. But I am very inquisitive too, being a Virgo, and so I was looking at like, how does this stuff actually work within the body? What's going on energy level? Not just, I understand biology. I've studied biology in Harvard, and I love biology and science, right? So I got all that, but I didn't understand at that time the whole energy system. I understood the energy system, but not on a deeper level of the things that I understood, the things that I learned of how anxiety actually operates in the body on the energy level and how that then affects the body and so on and so forth. And there's still some knowledge that I learned at that time that's not readily out there and available. I do teach it at Mystic University though. But these are the things. This is an example of why, okay? Why sometimes it's not your place. Again, if a healer came to me and said, "Let me fix you," I wouldn't have been that. My journey needed me to heal myself. Okay. And I see that in other people as well. Sometimes I will have clients come to me for healing and I will heal them, but I will let them know, like, I'm receiving that you're also supposed to heal yourself. And then I'll start teaching them how to heal themselves and let them practice on themselves and stuff like that, while I'm also like, let me get rid of the main stuff so that we can we can but you can also heal yourself. And so I'm very aware of that. So again, it's important that you check in here, because that's the only reason why I'm aware of that, is because I go within and I'm very connected to spirit. I'm very connected to other people's energies as well. So remember, in the interest of not being distracted, in the interest of not being tempted to move into a different direction due to shiny objects or whatever, make sure that you're going within to have proper discernment. Okay, proper discernment is with the spirit. That's the only way you can have proper discernment. Understand that, because the brain is not always going to be right. It's going to be right sometimes. We have a brain. We like our brains. Our brains are intelligent. We like that. And it's not that we ignore our brains. However, if it's a challenge, or if it's a competition between brain or intuition, always go with your intuition, because your brain can only process information that it can see and touch and hear. It can only process that information. Your brain does not process psychic information. Your brain does not process intuitive information. That is your spirit. Okay. So your intellectual mind is what I'm saying. Your intellectual mind is where we it's logical. It creates processes. It takes data, crunches it, and then comes up with conclusions based on that data. But not all of that data is able to be seen. So the reality is your spirit is able to see all of the data that the brain can't see. Okay, that your eyes can't see, that your ears don't hear. The spirit knows all of those things. So make sure that you are paying attention to that, and that is your golden rule. Okay, always follow your spirit. So in summation, the distractions and the temptations that you have right now in your life, you need to identify them, and then you need to push them aside. It's only the only way, I mean, it's very simple. The way that you divert away from distractions and temptations is simply to go back toward the North Star. Go back toward that light that I talked about. Not all the Christmas lights with all the colors from the 80s, but I'm talking about the I'm talking about the just one light, okay? One bright light that is your goal, that is your life purpose, that is your soul growth, that is wherever you know you should be heading, that North Star. When you focus back on that, the distractions begin to melt away. It's actually very simple. Very simple. Some people stay lost for years when all they had to do was just divert their attention back. And as soon as you do that, everything else falls away. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. Oh, I want to announce really quick. So please, before I announce, make sure that you get into this. Okay, make sure you embody this and integrate this. Remember, information without embodiment, without action is pointless. Okay, so make sure you are actually integrating this. But I want to announce that starting on Sunday, we will be having the divinity sessions live. We're going to start doing them live instead of pre-recorded. Previously, they were always pre-recorded, so now they're going to be every week live on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So I will see you guys definitely on Sunday, but we're still going to be doing these live, these Channel Wisdom Circles live every day, Monday through Friday, and then the divinity sessions for Mystic Temple, which is all around the Book of Rashida and dissecting that and giving other spiritual messages. That is going to be every Sunday. So we're pretty much going to be live every day except for Saturdays. All right. So remember, this is at 12 p.m. Eastern Time every day, Monday through Friday. But then the divinity session is Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. Please embody that. Stop getting distracted. Get it together. Bye.